Well, I suppose we've been quite lucky here in the sense that part of the increases have also been at the same time by the new building works. So we are lucky that we now are able to access a new learning centre that was finished last year. It has 6 homeroom spaces plus quite a lot of common shared space, but it can accommodate more children than what, say, 6 portables would accommodate, just because there's a lot of open space that they can share. Been very much embraced by our teachers and our students and our families. It is a different model than teachers having, a room with the door shut. There is more open learning and there is more collaborative teaching occurring, but it has been embraced by all levels of our community. Well, I suppose for us it's also wanting to be a size, and I mean, you can have a personal opinion of a principal as a size that you want to manage as a principal, but also the department has decisions about what they think is a good size for a school. We now have a neighbourhood boundary around us, which means that people have to live within our boundary to come to our school, and probably we're happy for that because we don't want to necessarily grow exponentially year after year after year. And so anyone who has a sibling here can come from wherever they live. So if there's children in our school and they have a brother and sister, they obviously can come. But then the next level is that people have to live within that boundary. But of our preps, the vast majority are brothers and sisters or within the new boundary. There's a few prep enrolments from this year that enrolled very early last year before the boundary, but the vast majority of, probably over 85% are absolutely within our new boundary. And when we're talking about enrolments for 2013, we're making sure families are aware of that. And obviously, we need to be then guided by the department as to what size they think of a prep enrolment in 2013 is. Look, I like a school of this size because I feel it's a great size to still have really good relationships with all your stakeholders. For me, as a leader, to still know all the children at some level and to know the teachers and to know the parents and the wider community. And obviously, the bigger you get, the harder it is to keep all those avenues of positive relationships going. But saying that, I suppose we have grown over the last few years and still managed to hopefully keep those values that are so important to us. We appoint staff that we believe have a shared vision. So we have a very united staff that are really committed to our school. I would like to think we would get a little bit bigger, but not enormously bigger. Maybe, somewhere between 400 and 450 would be my preferable size. But, we don't know that because I don't actually have the demographic data to say, well, how many young people are living in our boundary like other areas. And it does change with housing, isn't it? Like, probably there's a lot of people coming to live closer to the city. And as you would know, probably talking to other people, I live nearby also, there's lots of dual occupancies and apartments and that being built, isn't it? So, the demographics of a suburb change. The problem is probably in the inner city is the fact that the buildings are, the schools have been built and then they've got to use the facilities there. They can't just keep building onto older facilities, can they? Well, the department will then, I assume, supply portable buildings. That's and look, that they're relocatable and they're refurbished and they're perfectly adequate learning spaces, albeit very different to the more modern learning spaces that we've now got, you see. So then you have a little bit of a divide in facilities for areas of the school. Like, we still do have some of our classes that are in what would be a physically more traditional learning space. And we don't want masses of portables lined up in a school. We have got the facilities to grow a little bit bigger without any worry. Well, it's hard, and it is a different time for education with the change of government. Probably it's going to be a little bit less money given to education than we've had the last few years. So for us, it's certainly just continuing to build a great community and support our young people as best we can, and work with their families to be, a great state school. Well, we'd always like more, wouldn't we? And if we got more, we could spend it, but we have to work within our budgets, and and that's part of our community then making decisions about how we best spend our resource and our money. Particularly for an old school like this, I don't know if you know, but we're like an old red brick, very old school. We have had significant money for our facilities in the last 3 years, which has made a big difference. It is still hard to maintain our old schools, but we have been very lucky, in a way, under the stimulus package, to have significant money spent on our facilities. Well, we've spent on our facilities, we've chosen to spend it, but the fact that we've been able to means that we do have some lovely new learning spaces that are well maintained, but we have to care for them now when there's a period of the bucket's empty now, isn't it? In a community like this, also care for what we've got, understand the same, that it is a time maybe with less money that we may have had in the past, so therefore what do we do where we reduce and recycle and care for what we have too.